But let's just start with that AFC game, because I think people are stirring up controversy following the way that game ended. Do we have a controversy with the Bengals and the Chiefs?
Well, not from that last play, I don't think. I think that's just stupidity on the last play. But was there controversy throughout the game with some questionable officiating? I think you can make that argument. I certainly didn't think, but look, I don't think there's anything really strong. I mean, people can go ahead and call in with what you think is strongly that you disagree. Like, that is just a horrendous call. The pass interference call late in that game against Cincinnati, where he had his hand around the waist, no doubt about it. But I didn't think he turned the receiver. I thought it was a great play defensively, and I have a problem with pass interference anyway. I think they call it way too often. A guy touches another player, like, oh, the flag's up in the air. Like, it seems like they're trying to make it harder. Like, you have to turn the receiver to get. And I agree with that. There's nothing wrong with having your hand on the receiver's back. The problem is you can't push him, you can't turn him, you can't pull him, right? I didn't think that took place. I thought it was a good defensive play, but it's a judgment call. It's been called interference before. It'll be called interference again. I have no real room to complain terribly about the officiating, other than it seemed like there were a lot of calls like that.
I don't believe the games are rigged. I think that's like a really lazy cop-out at the end of games. I think calls do get missed, and I think with replay we notice them more today than we used to. But I think what really cast some doubt for people was when Cincinnati seemed to get like a bonus down, and then they showed on replay that the official was running on the field.
Yeah, that's tough.
But in the moment, you think it's a bonus down. In reality, it wasn't. They didn't get any preferential treatment. Those were penalties, including the one at the end that ultimately put him in field goal range.
I am so glad that they took the time to show that replay of the official running. I mean, I don't know, was the back judge or whatever, just kind of sprinted in about 5 yards and waving his arms like he was calling the play dead. He was the only one that was doing it, I guess, and that's where you could get a little sour on it. The other thing is, and King, maybe you'll back me on this. The NFL, I don't know if they're so precious about their precious time clock, or if they just don't. Is there hypocrisy with this? We joke all the time. I mean, not even joking. We get pissed all the time about delay of game penalties don't get called because the clock strikes zero, and then you've got this
extra second.
It's called grace period.
Grace period when you decide that, I'm going to throw a flag or not. Like, there's no. It should be black and white.
Yes.
You know, it goes to zero.
Time.
If it's not snap, it's a penalty, right? But in a situation like the game yesterday, they get all precious with it. Like, no, time is too important. We have to. There's 10 minutes in the fourth quarter still. Like, let the play go on. You'll figure the clock out after the play. You know, they're ready to roll. The play's going. The referee didn't stop it.
Well, he didn't notice.
I know, but my point is nobody else did. The only guy who noticed was the back judge or whoever the guy was.
Right.
The players, all 22 players, played as if they didn't know anything was going on. And Cincinnati got the stop.
But the play should have never happened, Gator, because they didn't reset the clock. Or
I
they
know.
didn't stop the
This is
clock.
my point.
I know.
It's their precious clock.
It's a tough pill to swallow in the moment, but with the context that they showed,
Exactly.
you can't be upset. It doesn't stop people from being upset.
I'm just saying that, I mean, will this lead to some other, rule change down the road? Maybe not, but it seems like a situation like that where the clock can be fixed. Fix it after the play, right? You can back judge can come up to the referee and say, "Look, guys, we had a problem with the play clock or whatever it was," and say, "Okay, well, let's figure that out. We got plenty of time." Now, if the clock is running, it's the end of the game. You're not going to miss that call at the end of the game because everyone in the stadium is paying attention to the clock when you're running it down. But when there's 10 minutes left, nobody's. I mean, come on. I felt bad for Cincinnati, but the point is, the referee, the back judge did see it. He comes flying up a few yards. He's trying to stop the play, and thank God they showed that replay of him doing that. Otherwise, all of Cincinnati would be marching towards Kansas City right now.
Well,
this is a joke.
Some still are. I don't feel bad for the Bengals. They were outgained. They committed more turnovers. They lost time of possession. Like, by every measure. They turned the ball over more. They got sacked more. They committed more legitimate penalties. Mahomes outplayed Burrow. Burrow had 2 chances in the fourth in a tie game. They went pick punt. Like, I don't feel bad for Cincinnati. I think the best teams won yesterday. The two teams that should be playing in the Super Bowl are playing in the Super Bowl, the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Cincinnati to win, so it's harder for me to swallow that, but I get it. And, Burrow's first interception was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. I don't know what you're throwing. It's just terrible. And the second one was an arm punt. I didn't care about that so much. But in the end, Patrick Mahomes made the plays you need to make. Threw for 300 yards, couple of touchdowns, gets the first down on that last play. And then, of course, all stupidity breaks loose. And, you push him in the back and get called for the penalty and moves him up a bunch of yards.
Like, I can understand someone who's not satisfied with that ending.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that, like, a controversy or corruption was a part of what happened yesterday.
Well, in the end, the team that had the gutty quarterback, because he had the ankle issue, won out over the team that was decimated by injuries to the offensive line. You can only get by so long without 3 offensive linemen. I mean, that really bit them in the ass from the moment the game started to the moment the game ended. Cincinnati, I'm amazed that they actually had a chance to win because they had no offensive line.
Well, both teams were dealing with adversity. I mean, Mahomes is playing on the bad ankle. He loses 3.
He looked like he was not fine. Okay, obviously it's a pain management thing. But he didn't look like he was hindered by that anywhere near as much as I thought he was going to be, and I'm glad I didn't overplay it.
Sure, he lost 3 receivers in the game, which did impact the way they had to play. He didn't have any run game.
No, he outperformed. There's no question.
I mean, any debate as to who the number 1 quarterback in football is, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Well, based on, if you got a healthy offensive line, Joe Burrow's throwing it all over the place.